and welcome back. My name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury makeup. And today we have our second episode of Makeup Mondays. And Makeup Mondays is a new series. It's not every Monday, but what we'll do is we'll take a question or a query from a viewer and we're going to discuss it. I'll do my best to answer it. So if you have any question or anything you'd like me to compare or go into more detail on, please leave that down below in the comments and I will add that to my running list. So today, our question actually comes from two viewers, Ida and Alma, and we're looking at the best single one and done eyeshadows. When you're thinking of one and done eyeshadows, you're typically in a rush. So there are two basic styles that you want to go with. Either you're looking for something really matte and neutral that kind of blends in with your eyes. So, for me, I would go with like a taupe or a peach shade, something very light that just gives a little bit of color but still looks really subtle. The other type of one and done look is something more shimmery. And in that case, you want a type of eyeshadow that when you blend it a little bit, you can get a little bit of a different color or finish so that it looks as though you have more than one eyeshadow on. Now, a lot of times people consider cream shadows to be one and done eyeshadows, and I think that they are fantastic for one and done shadows. However, I don't think just because an eyeshadow is in that particular formula that makes it a one and done shadow. There are some that are better than others. Another feature for one and done eyeshadows, and this one kind of depends on the person and the situation you're in, but oftentimes if you're in a rush or maybe you're on the go and you want to put on some eyeshadow, you're looking for something that is easy to apply with your fingers. So I will show you some that work well with your fingers. And honestly, if I'm at home, I'll use a brush. But, if I'm out and I want to add something, a finger application would be very helpful. Technically, you could use any shade from a palette as a one and done shadow if it meets your specific requirements. However, we're going to look at things that are packaged as singles for ease of transport and things like that today. So let's go ahead and start off with some more matte powder options. Now, a classic one and done eyeshadow for many people is going to be the Burberry single in number 102, Pale Barley. And this is a classic. I have used this as a one and done on my channel before, but you can see that it is a gorgeous taupe shade. This is actually my second one of these that I've had. They did change the formula several years ago at one point, but they're still fairly similar. And this is, you can see it's just a nice light taupe matte shade, and you can easily apply this with your finger, or it does come with a foam tip applicator as well. And it also has a mirror on the lid for, if you're out and about. So I think this is a great one and done shade. And one of the reasons for this is it has a nice formula. You can apply it with your fingers, you can shear it out if you want, or you can pile it up so you can get a little bit of depth or dimension with this shade. And again, with matte shadows, typically I go with something that is more skin color. So I'm looking at things for me like taupes and peach shades, something that I'm not really looking for a lot of dimension with anyway. The other powder matte shadows that I use for one and done eye looks are from Surratt. And you would either have to get a palette or something to put these in, or they come in a little plastic sleeve. You are welcome to leave that in there. It's just not the prettiest packaging. So, it does come with a little plastic sleeve that you can slide on and off. So that is an option. This shade here is Ombre. This is one of my favorites, and you can see again, this is going to be another taupe shade. I'm sorry, my arm is stained from some red lipstick swatches yesterday. I just can't get it off. So you can see that this shade is going to be a little bit darker. Again, you can kind of blur this out. It's just a beautiful shade. If I'm looking for a little shimmer, this shade from Surratt is called Vison. And this is another one that I absolutely love. And it's a similar shade. I'm going to put this one here in the middle. You can see it's kind of in between these two shades, but this one is going to be a satin finish. And I have one more matte I'd like to share with you, and this is the Surratt Poudre shade. So it's a peach shade. They do have several peach shades, but this is the one that I like the most because look how light that is and how that, you know, really kind of blends it with my skin. For many years, my favorite one and done eyeshadow was a light peach shade that is no longer, but it looks pretty much just like this. So if I had time for liner, I would just use a little bit of dark brown eyeliner and then I would use that. If I didn't have time for liner, I just used the peach eyeshadow and I loved it. We're going to take a quick look at the shade Ombre from Surratt on my lids. And I'm going to use a brush since I'm at home, but again, you could use a finger. And I'm using the Esom W23 brush. And I just dipped into the shadow and that's basically it. So super easy, super fast. It just kind of blends out the skin and like any veins or anything. I can add a little bit more here if I want to make it darker. But for me, I think that is a great one and done shadow. You know, if you're going for a matte, simple, almost like a no makeup kind of look, you're looking for like a soft matte shadow that is going to be in a light neutral tone. Let's continue on with powder shadows, and some of my absolute favorite one and done eyeshadows are the Chantecaille luminescent eye shades. So these are going to be sparkly, but they are going to be a shadow where you can apply it very strongly pigmented, or you can really kind of buff it out. So with this, if you apply it with a brush, it's really easy to do. Again, you can use this with a finger as well, but you can really use this kind of in the crease, kind of buff it out so it looks a little bit more matte and a little bit more blown out, and then build it up on the lid like this. You're using one shadow, it takes 1 minute. Let's go ahead and try one of these on. This one here is the shade Elephant, which is my favorite luminescent eye shade. And again, I'm going to use the same brush, but I did wipe it off. But I'm just going to show you how easy it is to kind of buff this out. So, you know, I'm not even like being neat. You can see I'm just kind of blowing that out in the crease. And this brush is honestly probably not the best for this because it is more of a flat shader style. But I just wanted to show you how you can kind of use anything. So you can really build this up if you want to, or you could just leave it like that. So if you wanted to use a finger, you can see like even with a finger here, you can kind of blur out those edges very easily. You could build this up with a finger and make it more sparkly. And now you have like a glam look with one eyeshadow in like no time at all. Now with the luminescent eye shades, technically you could do a one and done look with any of them. I really like the shade Cheetah on its own if you're using like a colorful eyeliner. Again, if you don't have time for eyeliner or anything, you know, go with something a little bit more neutral, something a little bit closer to a skin color. As I mentioned, my favorite is the shade Elephant, which I just put on. But, you know, depending on your skin tone and so forth, this one here, I absolutely love. This is Giraffe, and it is described as a burnished brown. I think that is another gorgeous one and done look. And if you really wanted to, you can kind of get a brown smoky eye just with that shadow. Let me show you Cheetah here. And you can see that Cheetah is this really pretty champagne shade. So it's gonna look just like a hint of sparkle on your lids, which is really, you know, easy to do and it gives a nice accent to bright colors elsewhere on your face. I'm not gonna swatch all of these, but another one that I think is a favorite of mine from the luminescent eye shades for one and done is the Lion, which is described as a golden copper shade. So I feel like these four are my favorite for one and dones from the luminescent eye shades. Again, you could use any of them. They all have this ability to kind of blur out at the edges so that it looks as though you have a separate color in your crease than you actually do. Moving on to some liquids. If you want something glam and you have a few extra minutes, but you only want to use one shadow, then you could go with one of the Natasha Denona liquid chromium shadows. These, you know, you can really, I'm gonna put this one on my hand, but it gives you so much dimension, and you can kind of buff this out with your finger into the crease, and it looks gorgeous. Being so liquidy, I find this one takes a little bit of extra time. So for me, it's not an ideal one and done shade, but it is gorgeous, and it is a great option if you have a little bit of extra time. By the way, this shade here is called Infra Nude, and it's just gorgeous. Let's move on to cream shadows. And before we look at some singles, I do want to share with you this duo from Tom Ford. This is the cream and powder eye color. This is the shade 11 Fleur Neige, which came out in the holiday collection 2019. So you have a cream on the bottom, and it's a gorgeous taupe shade. And then on the top, you have a little mirror, and you have kind of like this sparkly topper eyeshadow here. I'll show you both of those. So you can see just a little shimmer there. So you could use this, you know, very easily, and, you know, just kind of layer them together. So this is the cream, and you can see I can really blur this out. So if you're looking specifically just one shade, just the bottom works great for that. I really love it. But if you've got a little extra time, or you're willing to use two products, this is a fantastic, fantastic duo. They have a variety of different colors. This one here is limited edition, but you can still kind of find it some places. So this is what the two of them look like paired together. I absolutely love this. This is one of my favorite products to use for a quick and easy eye look. That being said, we also have the Tom Ford Cream Shadow. This is shade number 1 in Platinum. Let's put this down here. Now, it's super smooth, and you can see that you can blur this one out as well. And then you could leave it piled up a little bit more for a little bit of extra dimension. I find this to be a great one and done shade as well. And the shade Platinum is one of my favorites. This is actually a new one now, but you can see how beautiful that is. So it's taupe, but when you blend it out, you get a little bit of warm brown to it, and it looks cooler toned when you have it built up. So again, you've got some built-in dimension there. Similar in formula, you have the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize. This is the shade Oyster Pearl, and I don't remember what it was called prior to that, but this is also going to have, you know, kind of a similar formula. And again, you can blend this one out as well. I do feel like you get a little bit more depth from the Tom Ford than from the Charlotte Tilbury, but that may, you know, it's pretty similar. So I think both of these work well for one and done shades. Now, another product I really like would be the Victoria Beckham Lid Luster. And this one here is the shade Mink. And this one in particular, I like for one and done because, again, as you smear this into the crease, you have kind of like this warmer brown shade, and where it's piled up, you have this cooler brown shade. So I think this is a gorgeous multi-dimensional look on your eye, and it's really quick and easy to do. Now, keep in mind, however, that all of these cream shadows in general, wear time on a cream shadow is not going to be as great as a powder. So you also want to keep in mind your situation and if you want to have to do touch-ups or how long you need it to look perfect for. So I think all of these, they wear fairly well, and you know, none of them look terrible on me after a long period of time, but the powders often will hold up a little bit longer without any creasing or noticeable wear than something with shimmers or some sort of cream product that's a little bit more emollient on the eyes, especially if you have oilier eyelids. This one is the Chantecaille Mermaid Eye Color in Triton. Again, it's a gorgeous taupe shade. This is a shimmery version, but they do have a matte version as well. But I find that this one here is just a beautiful one and done shade. It's a light taupe shade. You can see it's a lot lighter than some of the others that I've used here, but I just find it to be gorgeous. It's a great one and done. I wore it a lot as a one and done shade during the summer this year. So I'm just going to show you a quick finger application of the Mermaid Eye shade in Triton. And you can see how easy this is to apply. And you can just kind of rub this a little bit in the crease to blur that out, just little finger strokes. And you can kind of just stop there, or I like to build it up a bit more in the lid. And again, this works well with a brush, and I usually use a brush, but just want to show you the ease of versatility with a finger as well. And then you could totally use different shades for this as well. This is just, in my opinion, the perfect shade for one and done. So here's the Mermaid Eye color in Triton. And on the other eye, let's take a look at the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize in Oyster Pearl. And I have a little sparkle left from cleaning up the Chantecaille elephant. So you can see how easy that is to just put on the lid. And I'm just kind of buffing my finger here in the crease a little bit. And there you go. Another product that is great for one and done shades is actually the Chanel liquid lipstick. This is the Ombre Premiere Lock. And this one here is shade 28, Desert Wind, but I also think Rayon is a gorgeous shade as well to use. And this is a liquid eyeshadow. You can use this liquid eyeshadow for anything. The shade Rayon in particular can also be used as a highlighter, but you put this on, you don't have a lot of time to blend. You can see that if you blend quickly, you can kind of buff that out. You can leave it a little bit darker on the mobile lid. You could use this as an eyeliner. And again, you've got kind of this doe foot applicator. So if you really wanted to, and you are talented, you could use the applicator very lightly along the lash line and get kind of a thicker eyeliner without using any tools. So let's take a quick look at this one. So with the Desert Wind, I would just go in and take a swatch there. And I'm not great with my fingers. I would use a brush myself. But there, I would just kind of blend that in to the crease first. And I'm just kind of patting the rest on the lid here. And that's it. I think this is a beautiful shade. And again, if I wanted to be really fancy, I would try this applicator right along here, which I'm not great at, but it didn't come out too badly. And then you can just let that dry and you've got, you know, basically an eyeliner and everything all in one. These shadows last so well. And yeah, I really love them, and I'm hoping that they come out with more shades in the future. And again, if you want to be fancy, go ahead and add a little bit of this to the lower lash line as well, and you have a really sophisticated look with one product. And again, look how fast that was for me to apply. Really takes no time at all. You could use a brush, you could use your fingers, doesn't really matter. The last style of product that I like to use for one and done shadows are actually the eye crayons. And my favorite is this Sisley one. This is the Fido Eye Twist in shade 1, Topaz. And I love this shade. So this is brown and there's a little bit of gold shimmer in there. You can see that this is not a flat shade. And I love this. So just like other eye crayons, you know, you put it on, you've got a little bit of time to blend. This one in particular works well. You know, I use it as a one and done, but I also use this as a base for other shadows as well. I plan on doing that soon, and get ready with me. I just haven't had time. Other brands that I use for the eye crayons, we've got the By Terry Ombre Black Star. This is the one that I like the most for one and done. And this one here is just a little sample shade. You can see this beautiful brown shade. Again, you've got a little bit of gold shimmer in here. This one is number 4, Bronze Moon. And then you can't go wrong with a Laura Mercier pencil. And this one here is called Au Naturel. And she has a whole lot of different shades that are in the nude range. This one here is a more matte one, which again is going to give you that great like kind of matte, no makeup look. And I really like that for this one. But if I'm looking for something with a little more shimmer, I would go with something like this shade here, which is Amethyst. You can see this one's got a little bit of shimmer. These things wear so incredibly well. I think they are great. So these eye crayons, actually all of the eye crayons that I just showed you are all travel sizes. Now, every year around the holidays, Laura Mercier has a gift set, a holiday set with a bunch of these lip crayons. I think it's like 5 or 6 crayons, and they're typically going to be in these more neutral shades. It's a great deal, especially if you can get it on sale. And that's how I picked these up. These are from last year's collection, but they are great for one and dones, or even just as an eyeliner as well. If you want a thinner point, just use an eyeliner brush with them. But I really do like this product. So let's go ahead and try this one on in the shade Amethyst on my other eye. So with the eye crayon, I just kind of put some on my lid. And again, you have to work quickly with these. So I kind of smudge it in and I keep it darker towards the base. And then I use my finger. And again, I'm not great with my fingers. So if I'm at home, I use a brush, and sometimes I will just use the brush directly on the crayon and then just kind of blend it in on my eyelid. But if you're looking for something super fast and easy, these are so easy to carry around in your bag. And there you go. I think that doesn't look bad. And again, you could even use this very carefully along the lash line to give yourself a little bit more depth and dimension there. So there you go. So Ida and Alma, I hope this was helpful to see what I look for in a one and done eyeshadow. Again, just to summarize, I'm looking for something that is easy and quick to put on, something that I could use a brush for or my fingers, depending on where I am, something that is easy to carry with me, and something that doesn't take a lot of time. If I'm going for a matte color, then I want something that kind of blends in more with my eyelid. So I'm looking for a light soft taupe shade or a light soft peach. And if I am looking for a shimmer, I'm looking for something that will give a little extra dimension from, you know, when you can actually blend this out in the crease, how it can kind of look like a slightly different shade, such as here. This is the Victoria Beckham and Mink. We've got this warmer brown with this cooler brown when you have it built up. So I'm looking for something that gives it a little extra dimension. And I think sparkly shades are really good at doing that as well, because naturally when you buff them out, you have a lot less shimmer. And then when you build them up, you have a lot more. So you automatically get some extra like dimension and depth from that. But anything that the color tone actually kind of appears to change a little bit also really helps with that. So technically a one and done shadow can be in any shade, but for ease of use and just for a general sophisticated, you know, one and done shadow, I'm always looking for something in the more neutral spectrum usually. And I think these are excellent choices. If I had to pick my one all-time favorite one and done eyeshadow, it's the Chantecaille Luminescent eyeshadow in Elephant, which is this one here. It is one of my all-time favorite eyeshadows in general. I just think is an absolutely gorgeous color. Can't get over it. If I'm looking for a powder, my favorite is actually the Surratt Ombre for the matte shades. And then if I'm looking, I mean, I love this Chanel in Desert Wind, the Ombre Premier Lock for a liquid. And if I'm looking for a lip or an eye crayon, I really love the Sicily in Topaz, which is this one, number 1. So those are my all-time favorites in each of the formulas. And again, if you've got a little extra time, oh, I almost forgot the creams. So if I'm looking for a cream product, I have to give it to the Tom Ford Cream and Powder Eyeshadow Duo. You know, I also really like the single in Platinum as well, but this one in particular is my favorite. Even just using the cream, I just really love this particular shade. And that's here, you can see right here, we've got it without the topper for the shadow, and here on we have it with the topper. And I just think it's a wonderful product. So I hope this was helpful. I would love to know what all of you think about one and done eyeshadows, what your favorite formulas are, and if you have any further recommendations. And again, if you have anything you would like to add into the list for Makeup Mondays, please leave those down below and let me know what you think. So I hope you have a great day. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Have a great day and stay safe and healthy.